Welcome to week 2 of Textures in Ceramic course. This week we're going to have 2 topics. The first topic is the stages of clay, and then the second topic is going to be slip. We're going to begin with discussing stages of clay, what different stages of clay are, and what does that mean for us. I think we all know what it is. I think the official definition of a stage of clay could be something like a proportion between clay and water. So everything starts with a lot of water and not a lot of clay, like a slip. And then it gets harder and harder and harder by being fired and removing the water away from our ceramic materials, from our clay. Amount of water versus number of clay particles. I like to think about is that stages of clay are not like a very rigid lines, like, oh, this is a slip, this is a leather hard clay, this is a bisque fired clay, etc. It's kind of more like a range. So my slip could be very, very wet versus kind of dryish and chunky. My leather hard clay could actually be drier, just a little bit drier than leather hard, or also could be a bit wetter than leather hard. I think treating the stages of clay as a continuum helps us as artists to use a lot more different points in this continuum compared to if you only have 6 stages of clay. I feel like it's limiting. It's really good for the beginners. However, as you keep going in your practice, it's just more fun to think about it as a whole picture. It also implies specific rules, all of the stages of clay. And this is what I'd like to discuss in this lecture. I think every single stage of clay has some kind of potential and limitation. So I invite you to go over them and kind of think about, what is the potential of specific stage of clay? For example, a slip easily molds into shape. It could be used as adhesive to put things on top of the object or a lot of other potentials. However, it has to be mixed thoroughly so that the clay particles and water combine in a very specific density. So there's some kind of limitation to that. Wet clay has a potential of being easily shaped, pinched, thrown. There's a lot of things we can do with it. However, it's also a limitation. If we make a form and we hit it accidentally when we stand up from our wheel, it's probably a limitation. Leather hard clay is the next stage. That's the stage where we can attach things and carve our object and our sculpture. However, there is a limitation. It's hard to reshape. It's going to crack if we try to reshape it. Dry clay, it's ready for firing. It can be sanded. It can be prepared for the first round of firing. However, it has a limitation. It's very fragile and it can be broken into small pieces. The next stage is bisque fired pieces. Whoever does 2 firings, that's the first firing. It's strong. It's ready for glazes. However, you cannot reshape it. You can only break it. And in theory, you cannot apply slip, although we will talk about it in this week. And the glazeware, again, fully vitrified, finished, beautiful object. However, you cannot change it. All of these things, and probably more, is something that we've been told a long time ago. I think the terms potential and limitation are just the terms. They're not reality. They all depend on your relationship with is it actually a limitation or is it another potential? So when I look at the limitations here, I actually see potential. I see ways through which all of those rules and all of those ideas could be broken to create a more beautiful piece. Example, if I talk about leather hard clay that's hard to reshape, if I'm gonna make cracks intentionally, that's probably the stage that I'd like to work with. That's the stage that people don't think about when they think reshaping because it will create cracks. But if cracks are part of your artistic expression, why wouldn't we do that? Or the idea that slip has to be mixed thoroughly and slip can't have chunks. Who came up with this? I apply slip just out of the well-thrown leftovers onto my objects to create texture. So a lot of those limitations are really nice to think through to be able to step beyond the rules and beyond those limitations, find and apply very interesting, unique things in how you treat your ceramics and how you treat your art pieces.